Hello. Started off my morning, I was dreaming about Blake's and Ray. I was supposed to work on Friday at whatever time, and I was at home, and apparently it was like after the time that I was like supposed to be at work, and so my mom was like yelling at me because I didn't go to work, and I was like, I didn't even remember. And then I was getting texts in this group chat that was like all the managers, and there was some like competition, but it was like basically me and Ray were the only ones participating, but like the prize was like an Xbox gift card. And so anyway, I I woke up from that and I was like, that was weird. And then I checked my phone, and like 3 minutes prior to me waking up, so while I'm like in the midst of this dream, I had a text from Ray. Still didn't work. And then I had to tell him it didn't work. I sent him 2 screenshots, and I'm like, unless I'm actually dumb, it's not here. And then he just said, what the heck? I'll talk to her again. And then like 3 hours later, I finally got the thing. So that was the start of my morning. And then because I woke up at 7 and I didn't want to be awake, but I think because I was so like shocked by like the dream, and then because I was like checking my phone to see the time, and then I was like, Ray, and then I couldn't fall back asleep. We cleaned out the garage, and I like spray painted a table. Well, we took stuff to donate. We got gas, and it was at Sam's Club, so like the same type of deal as Costco. We were in the back of the line, and she's like, I'm not doing this. And I thought she was like going to turn around, but she like went around the whole line into like a little empty like parking area, and there were like, because the thing, it like there was a driveway, and then like it goes out into the pumps, and so the pumps on the side like no one was going to, so but the line like went all the way over here, so we started over here. She drove past all of them and then saw there was empty spots and drove over the curb. This is not, it's a Mercedes-Benz, like it's not like a Jeep to be driving over curbs. But she drove over, and I already was like, what is happening? And then on top of that, because that's enough of a scene, she turns to the car that's like first in line and goes, fuck you. And I was mortified, which fortunately nobody else seemed to be sharing the road rage, so there wasn't a whole thing. But I'm like, oh my god. And then like multiple times today, so like she got honked at, but not during the gas situation, just like in normal traffic. And she's just like, oh, sorry, wasn't thinking. And I'm like, exactly. Like sometimes people just have a moment. You don't need to be like laying on your horn at every possible chance. That really stressed me out. Another thing that she does is she told me this story about her friend, the car that she was in getting hit by a train, and like the 2 people in the front died, and then her boyfriend who was with her in the back died like a week later, and then she is now like paralyzed, and so now she's really on edge about railroad crossings. Valid. However, she does this thing where like, because I would drive up to it slowly and be looking, and then go as fast as I can over it. She will drive onto it and basically like very slowly be looking while we're already on the track. And I'm like, ma'am, if a train were coming, we're gone. Like, once you get to the point where a train can hit you, go as fast as you can. There's that. I don't know if she remembers that I'm leaving tomorrow. I was spray painting a table for her, and she left to go drop something off at her friend's like rental company. She came back and she brought me a milkshake. She's like, I got you a milkshake. I remember you liked the Fruity Pebbles one, because my very first night here, we went and got milkshakes. I got the Fruity Pebbles one, and she was like, really? And I was like, I like Fruity Pebbles. And so she got me Fruity Pebbles one. We went to Panera, and she's like, can I interest you in a bagel and cream cheese? And I was like, sure. So we go to Panera, and then we're in line, and she's like, remember, you don't have to just get a bagel and cream cheese. You can just get whatever you want. And I'm like, lady, you just yelled at me for getting white rice yesterday. I'm not about to get a chocolate croissant, okay? And then we went to get those falafel wraps again, because I said that I wanted to get them one more time before I leave. And then we went to the vet to pick up the flea meds, but this vet is like, he does farm vet stuff during the day, and then like after the normal work day, then does like normal pet stuff. And he has like walking hours and appointments, and we went there, and it was the system there needs some work with like appointments, because there were people who like made appointments, but then there were people who like did a sign-in sheet, and then like they were getting priority, but they were already like an hour behind anyway, so these people were waiting for like 2 hours. But this lady came in with a little baby raccoon. It was so cute. We were there for far too long because it was absolutely nuts, and it smelled so strongly of urine, and ugh. Yesterday, we were driving. We were on probably like the most Ohio looking road ever. And she just goes, I bet this is probably what a lot of Michigan looks like, right? I was like, not where I'm from. Like, maybe when you get into like the upper like middle of Michigan, but it was like farmland and like hills and farm and just Ohio, and then like ridiculous county roads. And she's like, this is what Michigan looks like. I'm like, I mean, like, there are parts of Michigan that look like that, but I would never be like, this is Michigan. And then today we were talking about the drive-in convenience stores. I asked her if those were a thing in California, because I've only ever seen them in Ohio. But I said that it's kind of surprising because I feel like they would be pretty popular. And she's like, I bet it's because of crime. Not that I know what it's like where you're from in Michigan, but that's probably it. So I literally Googled it right then and there, and I looked up the safest counties in Michigan. Of the top 3, second and third place were Oakland, where I live, and Washtenaw, right next door. And then it said like Hamburg Township, where I used to live, also in the top. And I'm like, because yeah, I was like, I feel like I live in and have always lived in a very low crime area. But yeah, she's like, it's probably because of crime. She's very nice and she's very fun, but it's like so painfully obvious that like she was just in a little bubble in LA and never left until 6 years ago. And so now all she does is complain about how things are here. She's like, because I said, I didn't realize how big Youngstown is. And she's like, yeah, it's a big small town is what I like to call it. I just wish they just don't have any good restaurants, you know? I wish they had all the healthy chains that they do in LA. I'm like, ma'am, we are in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. No, they're not gonna have your Baja Fresh and like chopped salad place. But she's like so upset that Ohio isn't LA. Again, like I would never expect to be pleased in Ohio. I just feel like the fact that like she sheltered, but not sheltered in the way that you'd think like sheltered, but like, I don't know a better word. Basic, just like she just in a bubble. She's 65. She moved here 6 years ago. So 59 years she never left LA. Okay, another Airbnb person came while I was talking. Another thing that she said, she was talking about the guy who, like, back in like the 70s or whatever in LA was like leading the jogging movement, and he jogged all the time, and one day he just died, I think, of a heart attack. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I hear all the time people like run marathons, and all the time they just drop dead of a heart attack in a marathon. And she said, oh well, they're not in shape. I'm like, lady, how do you think someone runs a marathon? Like, she was like, oh, those people are just out of shape. But this guy, he was in really good shape, but he had a heart attack. And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying. No, these people were out of shape, but this guy, he was in shape. He just died. And then they did an autopsy, and he had high cholesterol because he was just apparently eating like crap. These randos who aren't famous who die running marathons, they're just out of shape. Hopefully that's not me. I said this was my goals for the half marathon that I didn't end up running, and they are transferring over to my full marathon. Number 1 is to not die, like literally do not perish. And number 2 is to cross the finish line. Those are my goals. My tendonitis / osteoarthritis, whatever the heck is wrong with my poor baby wrist, is back, and it hurts. I don't have my wrist brace with me, but I also don't really know where it is. So hopefully I can find that when I get home. Even though none of you are even watching this, even McKenna's let me down. And Ashley. Everyone. Except my mom. I mean, if anyone is actually watching these, you should come see me at Blake's on Saturday. I need to pack all my stuff. I need to braid my hair. When we were talking about me leaving tomorrow, the latest we ever like worked till, and it has been like 4, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I figure I can stay until we're like done with work and then go home. And she's like, well, how far of a drive is it? And I was like, it's like 4 hours. And she's like, oh no, I don't want you driving that late. And I'm like, if I left at 4, I'd be back at like 8. It's not even gonna be dark yet. Like, it's fine. And she's like, I guess that's true. I just really don't like the idea of you driving that late. But then there's been no talk since then. We haven't talked today about what we're doing tomorrow or the fact that I'm leaving tomorrow. And I don't even know if she remembers, because earlier she said, it's Wednesday, right? And I said, no, it's Thursday. So I have no idea when I'm coming home. Latest that I would be leaving here is 4, because I don't want to get back later than 8, but honestly I'd rather get back sooner than that, because I work at 9:30 at Blake's on Saturday, and so I want to paint my nails, and I need to find things. I need to figure out what the heck I'm wearing. It's also going to be like a bajillion degrees. Anyway, Sierra told me I talk too much, so I guess I'll stop talking.